Stevie, the first question is to ask about the process, because maybe there are some people who are unclear about what actually happens with the draft. What's the procedure?
There's two parts to it really. First of all of our new first year professional players at either Glasgow and Edinburgh that were signed from a Premiership club get realigned back to that club. Now that's partly to make life easy in terms of that transition into the professional game for them, and secondly it's to reward the clubs that have been involved obviously in developing those players. So those are what we term as category 1 picks, and as I say they're immediately aligned to the clubs that they came from. Category 2 players are thereafter all other professional players either at Glasgow or Edinburgh and Scotland Sevens, and what we do is the Scotland Sevens players are aligned to Glasgow and Edinburgh based on where they live to make travel easier, and our Premiership clubs are aligned to the professional teams from their area. So naturally Edinburgh Border clubs are aligned to Edinburgh Rugby, Glasgow and Caledonia clubs would be aligned to Glasgow Warriors. Now this year obviously there's an imbalance, so the Premiership agreed that one of the Edinburgh clubs would align themselves towards Glasgow Warriors. Curry decided or nominated themselves to do that, so we've effectively got a 6-4 split, which means that as much as possible we can get clubs aligned to the professional teams in their area.
The names on the list are the players, so what do the players get out of the whole process? I
think what's important is that they get a connection back to the club game, which is the top end of the club game. It's important we do that. The clubs obviously get the benefit of an association with those players, and the players naturally get an opportunity to play. Not everybody can play every weekend for either Glasgow or Edinburgh, so what it means is that either players who have not been fortunate enough to be selected get some game time, players returning from injury can get some game time, and what it does is it hopefully creates closer links between our professional game and the top end of our club game, and it also means that hopefully the standard is improved.
Okay, so it's a bit like the Houses of Parliament. There's a lot of showy stuff done on the floor of the chamber, and then everybody goes into committee rooms and does the hard work. Is that what happens here? There's a bit of horse trading to be done before the final list is ready.
Yeah, I mean there's a 48-hour what you term as a cooling off period where the clubs from each of the alignments can go away, have a look at their players, and actually potentially decide we may benefit more from having player X versus player Y, and they can approach another club in their draft and try and make that swap. Now that's an agreement between the clubs. 48 hours by the close of play on Friday, that's either agreed or not, and thereafter the draft goes as is. If any new players are signed by the professional teams, then the next club on that draft would get that player, and it's worked well. I think there's a fair bit of work goes on in the background, both in terms of the information that's provided by the Premiership coaches, in terms of their own squads and what they're looking for. In terms of the professional clubs, there's information provided in terms of injuries, and then there's a little bit of guesswork. Coaching's a little bit like that, so coaches in the room are trying to decide who's likely to play for the professional team, whom are most likely to see, so that the ones that get professional players more often, you'd like to think will get an added value.
It's not just on the field though, is it? I mean, you get those players that you pick, there'll also be off the field activities, there'll be coaching possibilities with the club players who are there as well.
Yeah, and I think we have to work closely together. We've got our professional clubs are striving to get better. Our Premiership clubs are certainly striving to get better. We need to close that gap, and we need two vibrant structures operating there, and an opportunity for our professional players to go down, even if they're not playing for the club at the weekend, and help out at training. Have a run around, be around the club. It gives everybody at the club a buzz to have a seasoned professional, an international player, a British Lion, or a new up-and-coming rising star in and around your club. Then I think what it does is it gives a message that we're well connected in terms of all parts of our game, and hopefully works towards it being a vibrant club season and also benefits our players in a professional game.